Welcome to my channel, guys. We did it. I reached 5,000 subscribers and I would like to thank you all for subscribing to this channel and sharing it with your friends. It means a lot to me. Now, this is the fourth video about SharedElement transition, and I was inspired by Dimest. He created this type of animation, and I thought about recreating it in React Native. And I'll show you my way of doing it by using the React Navigation v5 and Animated API from React Native. I already coded all the challenges, and if you'd like to have access to the source code, you need to become a Patreon, and I'll send you an invitation to the private repository. So check out the link in the description. And also I'd like to give a huge shout out to newly added Patreons, to Umar, to Tim Stevens, George, T.I. Barho, Kong and Petkov for becoming Patreons and supporting my work and my channel. It means a ton to me. So now let's play the intro, jump straight into VS Code and start building this fourth tutorial of a SharedElement transition. Shall we? Alrighty guys, so we are in VS Code here, and let me walk you through what we have so far. We have here a tutorial number 4 entry point, and inside it we have a dummy page, and then we also have photography list details, which is dummy so far, right? So nothing displayed here. And then we have a couple of components. The first one is the user card. So if I go here to the photography list, and this user card accepts a user as a property, so I'll get it from the data and the user, and I need to import it. So this is how the card looks like, and if I'm going to the photography here, I've created a bunch of data. Here I have a title, a description, a location, an image, and then an object of a user that contains name, avatar, job, and some details. And for each detail I'm displaying this list here, the name, job, and then the avatar. And then we have another list called masonry list, and this list display those images. And if we jump to it, I'm using this great library which is called React Native Masonry Layout. And how this is working, it's actually a component, and you can specify the number of columns, you can specify how the content will look like, and then you'll have a render item. And for this to work, or to inject the items, you need to specify a reference. So this is a useRef, right? And when this component will be mounted, we will get some data, and then we need to specify height and the key. And I'm also passing the image, of course. And then how to inject the items, it's using the reference and then add items with the items that we've just created. And this is creating this beautiful masonry style layout. And here in photography list, I have another component called photography item details, and the data is photography, right? And this is basically a dummy view that contains all the title and the description for all the slides that will be displaying, and those are positioned absolute. and we'll animate it while you are going to move through the slides, right? So let me now close the sidebar. We don't need it. So let's go to the photography list, and what I would like to do here is to display an animated flat list. So flat list here, and this flat list will contain the image plus the user card, and outside of it we will display this photography item detail that's positioned absolute, right? So let's start with the flat list here. So we'll have the photography item. We'll use a key extractor. So flat list, it's actually from React Native, key extractor, item and item key, and for the render item I'll get the item and then I'll display a view, and here inside I would like to display an image with a source of item URI item dot image, right? And I'll pass some styles. I'll position this style sheet, and let me import it absolute fill object. Hit save, and image is not defined. Okay, let's import the image, and I'll also need to pass a width of width, height of height, and then a resize mode of cover. Width is not defined. Okay, let me import it. So width and height. Great. So now we have those items, and I would like to move them, right? So we'll make this horizontal. And now you can actually scroll to it. And the style for this is going to be 1, width and height. All right. So now we have this list, and let's display the user card here. So we'll have a user card, and the user is going to be item.user, right? And this is positioned wrongly, so we'll have a view here. We will position this absolute, so position absolute bottom 120, let's say. And what about align self to the center? All right, so this is looking really nice, and I would like to make this a touchable scale. So this one should be a touchable scale, which is a component. So if I'll import from React Native touchable scale, so I'll import touchable scale. So this touchable scale, it's basically a component. When you press on it, you can specify how to animate it, right? And we'll have a couple of properties, an active scale, attention, and a friction, and we'll also use the native driver for it. And on press, we would like to navigate to photography list details, and also specify the item as a route param, right? So now if I hit save, now you see this is animating while pressing on it, which is beautiful. And the missing part is to display the photography items, right? So we'll have here photography list items, and here I'll need to pass the data as photography, and let's style it. So I'll position this absolute, right, and I'll move it up, let's say spacing, multiply it with 2 or maybe with 4, and give it a little padding of spacing. Or maybe a width multiplied with 84. Yeah, I think that looks good. And align self to the center. Yeah, I think that's actually looking good. Maybe move it a little bit down. All right, so now we have this one. And before doing the actual animation, what I would like to do is to snap into place. So we'll have paging enabled, and this way you see this is going to snap for each particular item, and then now we'll have a scroll event total of 16. And now we'll transform this into an animated flat list. So if I can import animated from React Native. And how this is going to work is this component will receive the scroll X value, and based on it is going to animate the text. And so yeah, I think so. Let's do this. So on scroll is going to be a new animated event. We'll take from the native event the content offset X and assign it to the scroll X. And we'll use the native driver for it. And create the scroll X, which is a React use ref, a new animated value, get the current. Why I'm doing this, I got this question all the time. It's because I will keep the reference of the current value, and no matter if this component will be re-rendered, this will not be affected. So with this scroll X, I can actually pass it to the photography item. So scroll X, right? And if I'm going to the component itself, I can have a scroll X here. So let me create here inside an input range, and how I'm going to treat it is we will have index -1, right, multiplied with the width by the width, an index multiplied by the width, and index +1 multiplied with the width. And for this one, I like to animate this view. So animate it, right? And I will start with the opacity first. So we'll have a scroll X, interpolate as the input range. And then for the output range, we'll have 0, 1, and 0. And if I'm passing this opacity, you'll see that now only the text for the active slide will be visible. And now if I'm moving to it, you see it's just going to animate it. And I like to have this animation happening sooner. Like here, I like to have opacity 0 and start the animation. And I like to do 0.5 instead of 1, right? So now it's going to be 0 in the middle, and then the other one is going to start. and this is creating this this nice effect, right? And I would like to apply for the translate y the same. So translate y is going to be scroll x, interpolate input range, and then for the output range, let's say 10, 0, and 10. Yeah, so this is, and don't forget to apply it. So transform translate y. So now it's going to go down and now up. Now go up. I think that I can move it even more. So yeah, great. And I think the title is not, it doesn't have the proper font weight, so let me do 700. And I think that the font size for this one should be smaller, and maybe apply a different opacity. Yes, so this is looking better. Okay, and now let's go to the second page, and for the second page we'll display the image, right, as a header, and then the user, and what else, the masonry style layout. So if I'm going to the photography, these details, right here we will get also the route, and from the route we'll get the item, so route.params. And here we will display the following. We will display the user card, which will have the user from item user. Great. And we'll also display the image, and the image will have a source. URI is going to be item image and some styles. And for the styles, we'll have a style sheet and import this absolute. Okay, so import it. So style sheet. Okay, and from style sheet absolute fill object, we'll have a. Okay, also import the image, and we'll have a width and height. And I think that we don't need those, so let's see. So image is not defined, let me import it. All right, so this is defined, and this is going to have a flex one. All right, so the image is positioned absolute, everything is working. Also don't forget to pass a resize mode of cover, right? And now for this guy, I'd like to have a scroll view. So this item, right? And the scroll view, I should import it. So I'll import from React Native. This is actually, so let me redefine the navigation list. It's actually tutorial number 4. If I hit refresh, it should go directly there. Okay. And here I'll have a masonry list. Masonry list, and I'll align items to the center. All right, and I'll give it a margin top, or maybe a padding top of, let's say, height divided by 2, and height is not defined. Let me import it. Yeah, this looks better. Okay, and now let's do the shared element transition, right? So I'll know that I'll use the, actually, you know what, the image should have a height of height divided by 2. Yes, and now this is going to be minus 100, let's say, right? So we will position this to the middle, and yeah, this looks better. And I would also like to change this to be white, so we'll have this. Oh right, this looks even better. So if I'm going to the photography list, right, and I would like to share the user card and the image, and I would like to do a shared element, and the ID is going to be item key, and then user card, and do the same thing for the image. So here is the image and image. If I hit save, nothing should happen, right? Everything should work. All right, and on the second page, if I go to the list details, I'll also need to wrap to the same elements, right? So shared element, and I'll have here an ID of item key, and then user card, and I'll need to grab here the shared elements. And if I go to another details page, grab this code, and shared element is going to be photo and user card. Hit save. So now basically I've connected the two routes, right? And I'll transition the photo and the user card. So hit save, refresh. And now you see this is moving the user card, which is really nice. And for some reason the image is not properly moved, and the reason for that is because there is no photo, but instead it's an image. So if I hit save now, oh right, this is looking really, really nice. Nice. And what I like to do next, like to wrap this masonry into an animatable component. So let me first import Animatable from React Native Animatable and wrap into an animatable view. And I'll use the native driver, and I'll do animation. It's going to be fade in up with a duration of 800, and delay it's going to be 200. So this is going to appear like this. I think that I can also increase the delay just a little. Great. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for staying so long with me. I hope that you've learned something new and you can apply it in your existing project. Also, don't forget to become a Patreon. I have already coded all the challenges and I've actually added a bonus one. And the link to how to become a patron and what we are going to build is down in the description. Also, don't forget to subscribe and smash the like button. Other than that, see you in the next video. Bye.